Do you have to lose your fear of death before you awaken? Before you're awakening? No, fear of death is really normal. My character Lisa has a fear of death. She would prefer a death that has less pain. Yeah, that's really normal on the human level. But there is something else that happens normally in awakening, and I think they call it like the dark night of the soul, or I don't know if that's what they call it, where often when you're awakening, what happens is your sense of being you really changes. And it's an energetic experience, and this can produce lots of fear. So as you begin to shift from being the person which is energetically centralized, feeling like it's looking, there can be this expansion, and it can be really sudden, it can be really gradual, so you don't notice it happening. But sometimes when you're having these experiences, as it begins to happen, there can be a lot of fear, because what the body will say is, I'm dying. So the body will produce those thoughts. It's a bit like if you've ever smoked a lot of weed, and if you smoke a lot of weed very quickly, what can happen is your heart rate really goes up and you get a bit disorientated, and the body can have signals that it's dying. So the thought that can come up are, I'm dying. And then if you believe those thoughts, you can go into like a panic, and into a really bad state, and you can get into, I remember once when I was younger, this happened, like when I was in my early 20s, somebody gave me like this bong-like thing, and I was just so naive and didn't really realize. I got so stoned, and I'd had a friend, not a close friend, but somebody I went to school with, who died from like a brain seizure. And I was having so many weird sensations. Like, another thing that I get if I get too stoned is my body gets twitchy, and there is, like, they explain this medically as to why it happens. Like, it's quite normal that happens. And I thought that I was having a brain seizure, so I went into a full down meltdown. I don't even think I could really speak though, so I was just laying on the floor, and I thought I was going to have a seizure and die. And so then I went into like full blown panic, and I just believed my thoughts. And it's the same with this. So when this shift is occurring, like, your sense of self gets really disorientated, and then the body can even like get like really rapid heartbeat, because the same as like when you're getting high on weed, because it's like a complete shift in the perception of the body. And then the thoughts come up, I'm dying, and then there's nothing wrong with that thought, because in a way it's true, there is a death that's happening. But then if there is a belief in I'm dying, then panic can ensue. So then you go into the story of it, and then like you just go into the hell realms. And what has to happen in that moment, the same as when you're on weed, is there has to be a surrendering into dying. So it's it's like a relaxation, and like also knowing that you're not going to die. Like, you cannot die. Like, so this deep knowing. But it's really interesting. I speak to so many people about this, and met so many people that have sometimes had these awakenings, without any spiritual knowledge, and they and it starts off like a panic attack. Like, it starts off very panicky. Yeah. But having said all this, like, I'm never recommending don't get yourself physiologically checked out and make sure you're healthy and everything, because it could be that your body's dying. Like, so I'm not saying ignore bodily symptoms. I'm not a doctor. I always recommend that, but this is just something I'm explaining that can happen in the awakening process, and it happened here many times. I died and have died. Yeah. Thank you for the question.